Open Book Chapter 1. Standing Still in a Spinning World. Right now, you're here. Reading, listening, thinking. But your mind, it's already somewhere else. Maybe it's racing through the to-do list you haven't finished. Maybe it's stuck on a message you haven't answered. Or maybe it's just drifting, from one worry to another like waves crashing on a shore that never calms down. And it's not your fault. The world is louder than it's ever been. It's fast, it's chaotic, and it's designed to pull you in every direction except inward. From the moment you wake up, the noise starts. Buzzing phones, urgent emails, endless notifications, breaking news, trending topics, group chats, ads, alerts, alarms. It's a never-ending parade of distractions, each one louder than the last, each one fighting for your attention. But here's the question you need to ask. Where is your attention going, and what is it costing you? Because attention isn't free. Every second you give to something meaningless is a second you can't give to something meaningful. Every mental tab left open, every dopamine hit from a scroll, every "I'll just check one thing" moment, it all adds up. It drains your energy. It fragments your focus. It scatters your mind. And over time, you forget what silence feels like, what stillness feels like, what it feels like to actually choose your direction instead of being pulled along by the current. The illusion of progress. Most of us are moving, but we're not going anywhere. We stay busy. We stay distracted. We mistake motion for momentum, activity for achievement. We cross off tiny tasks and feel a hit of progress, but deep down, we know something's off. Something's missing. The truth is, many of us are stuck in a cycle of reaction. We react to texts. We react to emails. We react to what the world demands from us. But very rarely do we pause and ask, what do I want to create? What direction am I choosing today? What matters most right now? This is the crossroads you're standing at. Right here. Right now. You can keep reacting, spinning, responding, rushing. Or you can reclaim your stillness. Reclaim your focus. Reclaim you. Why stillness is power. We're told that hustle is power. That speed is success. That faster is better. But here's the paradox. Stillness is where real power lives. Think about a sniper, a master artist, a surgeon, a chess grandmaster. They don't operate in chaos. They operate in stillness. Focused, controlled, present. Every move they make is deliberate, intentional, meaningful. When you're still, you start to hear the things that matter. You start to see clearly again. The fog lifts. The noise fades. And suddenly, you realize, you were never confused. You were just distracted. Stillness gives birth to clarity. And clarity is what unlocks momentum in the right direction. Not just any direction. The greatest decisions of your life won't be made in a frenzy. They won't come from anxiety or urgency. They'll arrive in moments of silence, in pockets of stillness, in breaths taken when the world around you is screaming, and you choose not to scream with it. That's focus. That's inner power. That's where everything begins. You've been trained to be distracted. Let's call it what it is. The world profits from your lack of focus. Social media companies make billions every year by keeping you scrolling, tapping, watching, reacting. Your distraction is their business model. The more time you give them, the more money they make. Your phone isn't a neutral tool. It's a slot machine in your pocket, engineered by the smartest behavioral scientists to keep you hooked. It rewards inconsistency. It punishes stillness. And without realizing it, your mind has been wired to chase novelty, not depth. You've been trained to be distracted. But if you were trained into it, that means you can train your way out of it. Because you were born with something stronger than algorithms. Awareness. You have the ability to step outside the cycle and say, enough. I'm not giving my life away one scroll at a time. That choice, to reclaim your mind, is the first crack in the illusion. And that's where the real work begins. The wake-up moment. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever had a day where you finished it completely exhausted, but when you looked back, You realized you didn't actually accomplish anything important? You ran errands. You answered messages. You checked your feeds. You handled the little things. But that big dream, that long-term goal, that meaningful project, untouched. Again, that feeling, that's the wake-up moment. It's when your soul starts knocking, quietly at first, then louder. There's more for you than this. And the only way to answer that knock is to stop. Stop the chaos. Stop the overthinking. Stop the reacting. And begin. Begin by becoming conscious. Begin by noticing. Begin by choosing, on purpose, what gets your time, your energy, your presence. Because the life you want isn't found in the next app, the next email, or the next emergency. It's built moment by moment, breath by breath, focus by focus. Reclaim the moment. Let's get practical for a second. What if, just for today, you slowed down? What if you put your phone in another room for 30 minutes and just sat with your thoughts? What if you scheduled your day around what matters instead of what's urgent? What if every time you felt the itch to check your screen, you asked, what am I trying to avoid right now? You'd be surprised what comes up. Sometimes, it's boredom. Sometimes, it's discomfort. Sometimes, it's fear. But underneath all of that, the real you, the one who has dreams, vision, power, drive, the one who's been buried under distractions and false obligations. You don't need more time. You need to stop giving it away to things that don't deserve it. Your focus creates your future. Here's the truth no one tells you. Your future is being shaped by what you focus on today. Not someday. Not next year. Today. Every thought you choose to entertain, every habit you reinforce, every action you take, it's all building something. The question is, are you building what you actually want? If you want freedom, focus builds it. If you want peace, focus protects it. If you want success, focus fuels it. Your focus is the steering wheel of your life. If you don't grip it tight, someone else will drive for you. From chaos to clarity. This chapter isn't about blame. It's about ownership. It's not your fault that the world is distracting, but it is your responsibility to decide how you respond to it. No one's going to hand you the life you want. You have to design it, day by day, moment by moment, distraction by distraction. This is the beginning. A return to stillness. A return to clarity. A return to you. Breathe. Let go of the noise. The world may keep spinning, but from now on, you choose when and how you move. Open Book Chapter 2. Clarity is a choice. There's a question that most people never stop to ask. Maybe because it's quiet and uncomfortable, or maybe because they're too busy chasing someone else's version of success. That question is, what do I really want? Not what you've been told to want. Not what your job expects. Not what your family, your social circle, or the internet applauds. But you, at your core, what do you truly want? If your answer is vague, unclear, or feels like a borrowed dream, don't worry. You're not alone. Most people are so lost in the noise, so entangled in expectations, that they've never had the space to even consider it. But until you do, every step you take, no matter how productive it feels, could be taking you further from the life you're meant to live. That's why this chapter exists. This is about pulling you out of the fog and handing you a compass. Because clarity is a choice. And it's a choice you can make today. Lost in the shoulds. From the time we're young, we're fed a script. You should go to college. You should get a stable job. You should want marriage, a house, kids, a career. You should climb the ladder. You should look successful. You should stay busy. It's a long list of shoulds, and the more you follow them, the more accepted you are. But here's the dark side no one talks about. You can build a life that checks every box, and still feel empty inside. Because when you live by someone else's rules, you lose connection with your own. Many people don't feel unmotivated because they're lazy. They feel unmotivated because deep down, they're pursuing goals that don't belong to them. They're climbing ladders leaned against the wrong wall. And at some point, you have to stop climbing. You have to stop and ask, is this even what I want, or just what I've been told to want? The power of self-inquiry. Clarity doesn't just fall into your lap. You don't find it in a YouTube video, a book, or a motivational quote. Those things can spark a fire, but you have to be the one to light it. Clarity begins with self-inquiry. That means carving out time and space to ask yourself the hard questions. What kind of life do I want to create? What values matter most to me? What makes me feel alive, fulfilled, energized? What am I doing just to keep up appearances? What would I do if no one was watching? At first, your answers might feel foggy. You might feel stuck or frustrated. That's okay. That's not failure. That's the start of awareness. The more you ask, the more you'll uncover. And the more you uncover, the more you'll realize how much of your life has been running on autopilot. The key is honesty. Not what sounds good. Not what looks good on paper. But what feels true, even if it scares you. Clarity isn't comfortable. Let's be clear about something. Clarity isn't always comforting. Sometimes clarity reveals that you've been chasing the wrong dream. Sometimes it shows you that a job, a relationship, a path you've invested years into is no longer aligned with your heart. That can be terrifying. But it's also liberating. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you're honest with yourself, you can stop running in circles and start moving forward, with intention. Clarity may cost you comfort, but it will give you something far more valuable: direction. And direction is what transforms effort into progress. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, better. Modern culture celebrates the busy. It glorifies the multitaskers, the hustlers, the always-on grinders. But real power doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, better, and with purpose. Clarity is what helps you zoom out and ask, what is essential? What's worth my energy? What deserves my yes? When you're clear, you stop trying to be everything for everyone. You stop chasing 10 different goals in 10 different directions. You become focused, and focus is where the magic lives. That's how momentum is built. That's how the needle moves. That's how lives change. The filter that changes everything. Once you gain clarity on what matters most, something powerful happens. You get a filter. And that filter helps you make better decisions. Every opportunity, every invite, every shiny new idea gets run through a simple question. Does this align with my vision? If the answer is yes, lean in. If the answer is no, walk away. Simple, yes. Easy, not always. But this single filter can save you years of wasted time, energy, and regret. You'll stop saying yes to things that dilute your focus. You'll stop drifting with the tide and start sailing in a chosen direction. You'll stop apologizing for prioritizing your own path. Because clarity gives you permission to protect your priorities. How to start defining what matters. If you're ready to get clear, here's a simple 3-step process you can start today. 1. Create space for reflection. Find 30 minutes. Turn off your phone. Sit in silence. Grab a pen and notebook. Let your thoughts breathe. This isn't about productivity. It's about reconnection. Ask yourself, what parts of my life feel energizing right now? What parts feel heavy, draining, or misaligned? What am I doing because I feel I have to? What would I keep doing even if I wasn't paid for it? Write freely. No judgment. No editing. Just listen to yourself. 2. List your core values. Think of the 5 to 7 values that matter most to you. Non-negotiables. These could be freedom, integrity, creativity, growth, simplicity, connection, peace. Define them in your own words. What do they look like in action? When your life aligns with your values, it feels right. When it doesn't, you'll feel resistance, and that's your internal compass trying to course correct. 3. Identify your true priorities. Look at how you spend your time, your energy, your attention. Now ask, do these things reflect what I say matters most to me? If not, It's time to start realigning. Choose 1 to 3 priorities for the next season of your life. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just decide what's most important right now. Build your days around that. Let the rest fall away. Permission to live your own story. You don't need to follow the blueprint everyone else is using. You don't need to seek validation for your path. You don't need to meet expectations that don't belong to you. You need to live your story. And to do that, you need clarity. Clarity of vision. Clarity of values. Clarity of purpose. When you have it, you become magnetic. People can feel it. You walk into a room with direction. You speak with confidence. You no longer second-guess every choice because you know where you're going and why. And that changes everything. Let go to grow. Clarity often requires letting go. Letting go of the image you've been maintaining. Letting go of commitments that no longer serve you. Letting go of goals that looked good on paper but feel wrong in your gut. Letting go isn't failure. It's focus. It's saying, I've learned something new. I'm ready to move forward with purpose. The greatest growth comes from subtraction, not addition. Declutter your goals. Declutter your calendar. Declutter your expectations. And watch how light, focused, and powerful you begin to feel. You get to choose. At the end of the day, clarity is not something you wait for. It's something you create. Not once. Not in a perfect journal session. But daily. You choose to be clear. You choose to live with intention. You choose to act in alignment with what matters. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present and being honest with yourself. You can keep chasing the illusion of success and waking up every day wondering why it feels hollow. Or you can choose clarity and start building a life that feels true. The path forward starts here. Make the choice. Open Book Chapter 3. Attention is currency. Spend it wisely. What if I told you that you carry a fortune with you every single day? Not in your wallet. Not in your bank account. But in your attention. Every moment you're alive, you're spending it. Every second, your attention is flowing somewhere. Towards something. And that something, it's either building the life you want, or it's not. In today's world, attention is the most valuable currency you have. And unlike money, you can't earn more of it. You can't deposit it in a savings account. You can't get a refund for where it went yesterday. Once it's gone, it's gone. The question is, are you spending it wisely? The economy of distraction. We live in an era where attention is mined, traded, and sold like gold. Tech companies fight for it. Advertisers buy it. Platforms are engineered to hijack it. Social media doesn't just want to entertain you, it wants to own you. Every swipe, like, comment, click, it's designed to keep you locked in, scrolling just one more time. It's not just a feature. It's the business model. Because the longer you stay distracted, the more data they collect, the more ads they can show, and the more profit they earn. And what do you get in return? Disconnection, fractured focus, anxiety, decision fatigue, a growing sense that your time and mind are no longer your own. This is the modern attention economy. And you are the product, unless you decide not to be. The hidden cost of fragmented focus. Let's make this real. How many times have you sat down to work on something important, only to find yourself pulled away by a buzzing phone, an incoming email, a thought about something unrelated? It doesn't seem like much in the moment. A few seconds here, a glance there. But here's what's happening behind the scenes. Each distraction fractures your focus. And every time your brain has to switch tasks, even briefly, it burns extra energy. It creates cognitive friction. Your mental momentum is interrupted, and it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully refocus after just one distraction. That's 23 minutes lost to every ping, buzz, or click. Now multiply that by how many interruptions you have in a day. And it's no wonder you feel drained, unfocused, and like you're spinning your wheels but going nowhere. Your attention isn't just being pulled away, it's being exploited. And unless you reclaim it, you'll keep living on autopilot, wondering why your goals feel distant and your mind feels heavy. Where attention goes, energy flows. Here's the liberating truth. You may not be able to control every distraction around you, but you can control where your attention goes. And where your attention goes, your energy flows. Your creativity, your focus, your emotions, they all follow your attention. This is why people who master their attention seem unstoppable. It's not because they have more hours in the day. It's because they spend their hours differently. They treat attention like the precious, non-renewable resource that it is. And they invest it in things that matter. Not everything. Not everyone. Just what's essential. And that's where power lives. In selective attention. Focus is a form of freedom. Think about this. When was the last time you went an hour without checking your phone? When was the last time you truly sat with your thoughts, uninterrupted? If you can't remember, you're not alone. But here's the thing. If you can't control your attention, you don't control your time. And if you don't control your time, you're not in control of your life. That's why reclaiming your attention is one of the most radical, life-changing moves you can make. Because focus is freedom. Attention is agency. Concentration is control. You can't create your best work, make clear decisions, or build meaningful relationships if your attention is constantly being splintered. Focus isn't a luxury. It's a requirement for the life you say you want. And it starts with becoming intentional about where, and to whom, you give the privilege of your attention. The attention audit. If you want to reclaim your attention, you have to know where it's going. It's time for an audit. For the next 24 hours, observe how you spend your attention, as if you were tracking your spending habits. Notice how often you check your phone without thinking. How many notifications interrupt your day? How often you multitask, and how that impacts quality. How much time you spend on things that feel urgent but aren't important. Now ask, how much of that attention investment is intentional? How much is driven by impulse, emotion, or habit? What actually moved you closer to your values, your goals, your peace? What you'll likely find is this: much of your attention is being stolen, not spent. But here's the empowering part. You can change that. Attention management, time management. You've probably heard of time management. You may have tried planners, Pomodoro timers, color-coded calendars. But here's a radical idea. Time management is useless if you can't manage your attention. You can have 8 hours blocked for deep work, but if your attention is scattered, you won't make progress. You can spend an entire day working, but if half that time is spent mentally bouncing between tabs, texts, and temptations, what did you actually build? Time is the container. Attention is the content. And when you protect your attention, you multiply the impact of your time. Protecting your attention like a gatekeeper. Let's be blunt. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everyone has earned access to your mind. You have to become ruthless about protecting your focus, not because you're cold, but because you're clear. That means turning off non-essential notifications, blocking time for deep, focused work, keeping your phone in another room when you need to concentrate, creating no interruption zones for creativity, saying no to energy-draining conversations, closing browser tabs you don't need, using one screen, one task, one focus at a time. You don't need to respond to everything immediately. You don't need to be available to everyone all the time. Your availability to others should never come at the expense of your availability to yourself. Your focus deserves protection, because without it, your goals remain dreams. Your growth remains stunted, and your potential remains untapped. Shift from consumer to creator. There are two kinds of people in the digital world: consumers and creators. Consumers react. Creators choose. Consumers scroll, click, binge. Creators build, write, design, lead, grow. Every time you pick up your phone, you're either consuming someone else's agenda or creating your own. You're either living in someone else's story or authoring your own. Which one are you doing more of? That question, asked honestly, can change the entire trajectory of your life. If you want to be a creator of meaning, not just a consumer of noise, you need to conserve your attention like oxygen. Because it is your oxygen. Your dreams depend on it. Reclaiming your inner world. Here's the truth that most people avoid. If you don't control your internal world, your external world will control you. The news cycle will dictate your mood. Social media will define your self-worth. Other people's urgency will steal your peace. But when you protect your attention, you reclaim your inner world. You become grounded, present, whole. You start responding instead of reacting. You start choosing instead of chasing. You start listening to your own voice instead of drowning in the opinions of others. And from that place, you can finally begin to create a life that feels aligned, spacious, and true. Attention as a daily practice. Reclaiming your attention isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily discipline. It's choosing again and again to focus on what matters. It's noticing when your mind drifts and gently bringing it back. It's creating environments that support presence, not chaos. It's pausing before clicking, breathing before reacting, reflecting before responding. It's remembering that your attention isn't just what you look at, it's what you honor. So the question becomes, what are you honoring with your attention today? The final reminder. Your attention is your life force. Where you give it determines who you become. You can either spend it on distractions and regrets, or you can invest it in intention, growth, depth, and creation. Every day, the choice is yours. And now that you're aware of its power, you'll never see it the same again. So protect your attention like it's sacred, because it is. It's time to stop wasting your focus on what doesn't matter and start investing it in what does. Your future depends on it. Open Book Chapter 4. Build a fortress for your mind. Your mind is sacred ground. Every idea you've ever had, every dream you've ever chased, every breakthrough, every breakdown, every ounce of clarity, creativity, and confidence, it all begins in your mind. And yet, most people leave their mental space completely unguarded, unprotected, open for business to anyone and anything that comes knocking. But if you want to build a life of intention, if you want to rise above the noise, focus with depth, and create something that matters, then you need to build something stronger than motivation. You need to build a fortress for your mind. Why your mind needs protection. Let's start with a simple truth. Your mind becomes what it's exposed to. The conversations you have, the media you consume, the thoughts you repeat, the environments you move through. They all leave a mark. You don't absorb these things consciously. That's the scary part. They slip in quietly. A comment here, a headline there, a post, a comparison, a subtle feeling that you're not enough, that you're behind, that you should be doing more, having more, becoming more. It's like letting strangers walk through your house, rearrange your furniture, and criticize the decor without ever realizing you opened the door. The world is not designed to protect your peace. It's designed to hijack your attention, exploit your fears, and sell you a version of success that often leads nowhere. That's why you need to protect your mind, not just from obvious threats, but from the slow, subtle ones. The whispers of doubt, the lure of comparison, the endless loop of not yet and not enough. Your mental environment is either the foundation for your focus or the very thing tearing it down. So ask yourself, would you let just anyone walk into your house? Then why let anything walk into your mind? The open door problem. Most people live with a mind wide open, like a house without walls. Every tweet, every breaking news banner, every random YouTube video, every toxic conversation, every subtle judgment, they all get in. No filter. No gatekeeping. Just pure, unfiltered access. And over time, these inputs add up. Not all at once. Gradually. Quietly. Until one day you wake up feeling anxious for no reason. You try to work, but your thoughts are scattered. You can't focus. You can't rest. You can't remember the last time you felt centered. It's not because something is wrong with you. It's because you've let everything in. The open door policy has to end. and it ends with a decision. The decision to become a guardian of your inner space. The decision to build a mental fortress, not to block the world out entirely, but to choose carefully what gets in. Fortresses aren't walls, they're boundaries. Let's get something clear. We're not talking about isolation. You're not building a prison. You're building boundaries. There's a difference. Walls keep everything out. Fortresses allow entry through gates. Gates that open only for what supports, strengthens, or aligns with your values. Your mind needs boundaries because clarity needs space. Focus needs protection. And peace needs a container. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're strategic. They don't isolate you. They free you to engage with the world from a place of strength instead of survival. You don't need to be available to everyone and everything. You need to be available to yourself. And that starts with defining what gets access to your mind. Identify the leaks. Before you can build your mental fortress, you need to patch the leaks. What's draining you? Take inventory of the things that are currently occupying your mental space. Information overload, constantly scrolling, watching, reading, without time to process or reflect. Toxic input, news cycles built on fear. Social media that triggers comparison. Gossip and drama. Mental loops. Overthinking. Self-criticism. Regret. Worrying about things you can't control. People-pleasing. Trying to be everything to everyone. Constantly seeking approval. Lack of boundaries. Saying yes too often. Being reachable 24/7. Letting other people's emergencies become your own. These leaks don't just drain your time. They leak your power. And every leak in your attention is a crack in your mental fortress. The first step is awareness. The second is action. Let's take back control. Brick by brick. Building your mental fortress. A fortress isn't built overnight. It's built brick by brick, boundary by boundary, practice by practice. Here's how to start. Brick 1. Curate your inputs. You become what you consume. Start being intentional about what you feed your mind. Unfollow accounts that trigger insecurity or outrage. Limit exposure to sensationalist media. Subscribe to content that inspires, educates, and aligns with your goals. Surround yourself with voices that elevate your thinking. Your inputs shape your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your life. Be a curator, not a collector. Brick 2. Set digital boundaries. Your phone isn't the enemy, but your relationship with it might be. Create space for mental clarity by managing your digital life. Turn off non-essential notifications. Use Do Not Disturb during work and rest hours. Delete apps that drain more than they contribute. Create phone-free zones, like the first hour of your morning or your bedroom at night. Schedule intentional screen time instead of using it as a reflex. Your device should serve your priorities, not replace them. Brick 3. Master your inner dialogue. Your mind is always speaking. The question is, what is it saying? And are you listening passively or actively directing it? Every time you think, I'm not good enough, I can't focus, or I'll never get this right, you are reinforcing a mental pattern. That pattern becomes belief. Belief becomes behavior. Behavior becomes identity. To guard your mind, you have to challenge your thoughts. Try replacing. I'm overwhelmed. I can handle this one step at a time. I'm not focused today. I'm training my focus. Distractions are part of the process. I can't do this. I haven't done this yet. But I'm learning. Your thoughts aren't facts. They're stories. Make sure you're writing the right ones. Brick 4. Create a daily reset ritual. The world floods your mind with noise. If you don't create stillness, you'll drown in it. Build daily habits that bring your focus back home. Morning journaling or reflection. Breath work or meditation. Walking without devices. Quiet reading. Gratitude practices. You don't need hours. Even 10 minutes of intentional stillness can reset your mind, recalibrate your focus, and remind you of what matters. Brick 5. Control the environment you can. You can't control everything, but you can control your space. Make your physical environment a reflection of your mental priorities. Declutter your workspace to reduce mental friction. Create a designated, deep work zone. Use noise-canceling headphones or calming background sounds. Keep visuals around you that inspire clarity, quotes, goals, values. Set boundaries with those around you. Let them know when you're not available. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes behavior. Shape it with intention. Your mind is the command center. Think of your mind like mission control. Every decision starts there. Every goal is born there. Every emotion, reaction, and habit is filtered through it. Would you run a billion-dollar company without security, structure, and systems in place? Of course not. But your mind is worth more than any business. It's your command center for life, and it deserves to be treated that way. So guard it like it matters, because it does. You are the architect. No one's going to build this for you. There's no app that can protect your peace. No algorithm that can train your attention. No focus hack that replaces inner discipline. This is your work. You are the architect of your mind. You decide what gets in. You decide what stays out. You decide what kind of thoughts get to live rent-free in your head. And every time you make that decision, you lay another brick in the fortress. A fortress of clarity. A fortress of intention. A fortress of unshakable focus. And over time, that fortress becomes your foundation. When the world gets loud, you stay steady. When life gets chaotic, you stay clear. When distractions come knocking, you don't open the gate. Because you've trained for this. You've built this. And now, you live from it. Final words. Protect what powers you. Your greatest power doesn't come from what you do. It comes from how well you protect what drives everything you do. Your mind. So from today forward, treat your attention like gold. Treat your peace like a sacred temple. Treat your focus like a fire, one that must be stoked, not smothered. Build the fortress. Stand at the gate. And remember, what you allow in becomes who you become. So let in only what strengthens you. Your mind is worth protecting, because your future depends on it. Open Book Chapter 5. Design your day like an architect. There are two ways to live each day. By design. By default. One leads to clarity, purpose, and momentum. The other leads to distraction, reaction, and regret. Most people wake up and fall straight into default mode. They roll over, check their phone, read emails, scroll through notifications. And just like that, they've handed control of their day to someone else. They didn't choose their focus. They didn't design their direction. They just reacted. And the day slipped away, again. But what if you lived differently? What if you started living like an architect of your time, not a passenger in someone else's blueprint? Because here's the truth. Your life is built one day at a time. If you want to build something extraordinary, it starts by treating each day as a brick in the foundation. Every hour is a beam. Every habit is a nail. Every routine is a blueprint. And you are the architect. Architects don't wing it. An architect doesn't just show up and start building with no plan. They draft. They review. They sketch and revise. They start with the end in mind, then reverse engineer every detail to bring that vision to life. Your day deserves the same level of care. Your time is not something to get through. It's something to design intentionally. Because when your day has no structure, your mind has no direction. And when your mind has no direction, your energy gets scattered. So the question becomes, are you designing your days like an architect or drifting through them like a wanderer? Clarity is built at the start of the day. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start your day in chaos, scrolling, reacting, multitasking, you begin on the defense. But if you start it with clarity, stillness, intention, focus, you step into leadership. Not over others, over yourself. Designing your day doesn't start with your to-do list. It starts with asking, what does success look like today? What needs my full attention? What will I say no to, so I can say yes to what matters? How do I want to feel as I move through this day? Your mind is a powerful tool, but it needs direction. So give it that direction first thing in the morning. Before the world can speak, speak to yourself. Start with the big three. Most people build bloated to-do lists that are 15 to 20 items long, and then wonder why they feel overwhelmed by 10 a.m. Here's the truth. Not everything is important. Not everything deserves your energy. That's why architects of time focus on the big three. Every morning, or the night before, identify one thing that will move your most important goal forward. One thing that will support your health or well-being. One thing that will strengthen a key relationship or connection. These are your pillars. If all you do today is move the needle on these three, you win. Because momentum isn't built by checking boxes. It's built by prioritizing the meaningful over the meaningless. Time blocking, a blueprint for focus. If you don't assign your time a job, someone else will. One of the most powerful tools for designing your day is time blocking. Not to rigidly schedule every second, but to give your day structure with flexibility. Time blocking means dividing your day into chunks of focus. Deep work block, your highest value task. Admin block, emails, messages, scheduling. Creative block, brainstorming, writing, designing. Rest block, yes, rest should be scheduled too. Connection block, family, friends, mentoring. Review block, reflect, assess, close the day. You don't need to fill every hour, but you do need to create containers for intention. When each hour has a purpose, you stop drifting and start directing. Protect the first 60 minutes. What you do in the first hour of your day is one of the most powerful predictors of how focused, productive, and emotionally stable you'll be for the next 15. Most people waste their mornings on things that serve others but sabotage themselves. Scrolling social media. Responding to DMs. Checking email. Reading the news. Instead, take back the first 60 minutes. Make it yours. Even if you can only spare 20 to 30 minutes, carve it out with intention. Build a morning foundation using this simple formula. M plus M plus M equals power start. Movement, get your blood flowing. Mindfulness, clear your head. Mapping, set intention for the day. Even 10 minutes of each will change the way you move through the rest of your day. You start grounded. You start clear. You start in control. Batching for mental efficiency. Context switching kills momentum. Every time you jump from one kind of task to another, writing an email, then designing something, then making a call, you lose energy. Your brain has to reboot. That's why high performers batch similar tasks together. Think of it as thematic focus. Monday morning, planning and strategy. Tuesday afternoon, meetings only. Wednesday, deep creative work, no calls. Friday, reflection, admin, cleanup. You can apply batching inside a single day, too. Group tasks by energy level. High energy, writing, problem solving, strategy. Medium energy, meetings, collaboration. Low energy, admin, organizing, cleanup. Protect your peak hours for peak tasks. Don't waste your most focused state answering routine emails. Structure creates flow. Build in breaks, on purpose. We live in a culture that glorifies non-stop hustle, but the brain doesn't work that way. You're not a robot. If you push too long without rest, your focus degrades, your creativity shrinks, and your productivity tanks. That's why you need strategic breaks, even if you think you don't have time. Use something like the 52-17 method. 52 minutes of focused work. 17 minutes of full recovery. Or keep it simple. 90 minutes on, 15 minutes off. The key is to disconnect fully during the break. Step away from your screen. Walk outside. Breathe deeply. Stretch your body. Reflect. Don't scroll. Breaks aren't a waste of time. They're what allow you to sustain your output and return stronger. Designed for energy, not just tasks. Don't just design your day for output. Design it for energy management. Ask yourself, what drains me? What refuels me? What do I need more of? What do I need less of? Then, align your daily design accordingly. Some ideas. Begin with solitude if you're an introvert. Add social time midday if you're an extrovert. Take a midday walk instead of another cup of coffee. Eat foods that energize, not sedate. Include at least one thing you look forward to. Daily joy is productive. When you prioritize energy, everything else gets easier. Reflect before you close the day. Architects don't just build. They revise. They adjust. They reflect. They improve the design. You should too. Take 5 minutes at the end of each day and ask, what did I do well today? What drained me unnecessarily? What needs adjusting tomorrow? What am I grateful for? This reflection loop doesn't just increase awareness, it deepens focus. You stop repeating mistakes. You start noticing patterns. You begin to build not just better days, but a better life. Make it yours. All of this only matters if you make it yours. There's no perfect routine, no universal schedule, no one-size-fits-all blueprint. What works for one person may feel like a straitjacket to another. So don't copy, customize. Design your day around your energy rhythms, your life stage, your personality, your priorities. The goal isn't to fit into a perfect system. The goal is to build a system that fits your real life. Test it, tweak it, improve it, over and over. That's what architects do. Today builds tomorrow. Every day is a draft of your future. It's not about one massive leap. It's about consistent, intentional design, one day at a time. If you win the day, you win the week. If you win the week, you win the month. And if you string enough of those together, you change your life. But it all starts right here. Before the world wakes up. Before the demands flood in. Before you check in with the outside, check in with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want to build today? Then design your day like it matters. Because it does. Final reminder. You don't drift to great outcomes. You design them. And the most powerful design tool you have is the way you spend your day. So stop living by default. Start living by design. You are the architect. And every day is your blueprint. Now go build something extraordinary. Open Book Chapter 6. Mastering the Power of No. If your focus is your superpower, then no is your shield. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't feel heroic in the moment. But behind every deeply focused, wildly successful, peacefully grounded person is a powerful skill most overlook. They know how to say no, and they say it often. Not out of anger, not out of selfishness, but out of clarity. Because when you truly understand what matters, what you say yes to becomes sacred, and what you say no to becomes strategic. Why we struggle to say no. You know this already. You've said yes when you were already overwhelmed. You've agreed to things that didn't align with your goals. You've attended events out of guilt, accepted projects out of fear, replied to messages out of obligation. Why? Because saying no feels uncomfortable. We worry we'll disappoint someone. We fear we'll miss out. We tell ourselves we're being rude, difficult, or inconsiderate. But here's the truth most people never learn. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you're saying no to something that does. And if you don't get ruthless with your yes, the world will consume every drop of your time, your attention, and your energy. Yes has a cost. We often think of yes as generous, open, and kind, and in many cases, it can be. But every yes has a price. That price may be your focus, your peace, your productivity, your rest, your growth, your freedom. If you're constantly saying yes to everything, you're probably spending your days scattered, reactive, and drained. Not because you lack discipline, but because you lack boundaries. You're not lazy. You're just overcommit. You're not unmotivated. You're just stretched too thin. And it's not because you're weak, it's because you haven't fully stepped into the power of intentional refusal. What no really means. Saying no doesn't make you harsh. It makes you focused. No isn't rejection. It's redirection. It's not about shutting people out. It's about staying locked in on what you've chosen to build. No is how you protect your mental energy. Preserve space for deep work. Uphold your personal values. Safeguard time for loved ones. Honor your own capacity. In a world that praises yes men and people pleasers, choosing no makes you uncommon. But it also makes you free. The 3 types of no. Let's break it down. Not all no is the same. There are 3 core categories of refusal you need to master. 1. The no to distraction. These are the constant intrusions that pull you away from meaningful work. The ping of your phone. The endless scroll of social media. The extra browser tabs, just in case. The compulsion to multitask. Saying no to distraction means building micro-boundaries throughout your day. It means silencing unnecessary notifications, turning off your phone during deep work, using focus apps or website blockers, keeping your environment clean and quiet. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every time you say no to an interruption, you're saying yes to momentum. 2. The no to obligation. These are the things you feel pressure to do, not because you want to, but because you think you should. Invitations you don't want to attend. Requests that drain you. Projects that don't serve your mission. Conversations that go nowhere. Obligation is often rooted in guilt. But guilt is not a good guide. Values are. Saying no to obligation means learning to disappoint others, so you can stop disappointing yourself. It means politely declining without over-explaining. Saying, I can't commit to that right now. Trusting that the right people will respect your boundaries. Knowing that every no makes room for a more powerful yes. 3. The no to old versions of yourself. This one is subtle, but deep. It's saying no to habits that no longer serve you, patterns that keep you stuck, identities you've outgrown, goals that were once yours, but no longer are. As you grow, you'll realize not everything from your past can come with you. Not every old dream deserves a place in your future. You have to let go of outdated commitments, even if they once made sense. This kind of no is emotional. But it's also transformational. Saying no without guilt. Let's face it, saying no is hard because we've been trained to feel bad about it. We've been taught that saying no is rude, that it's selfish, that it closes doors. But here's what's actually rude. Saying yes when you don't mean it, overcommitting and then resenting it. Half showing up when your heart's not in it. Sacrificing your peace so someone else can avoid discomfort. That's not noble. That's unsustainable. And it leads to a life built on other people's priorities. You don't need to feel guilty for honoring your bandwidth. Boundaries are not betrayals. They are a declaration of self-respect. Scripts for saying no gracefully. Here's the good news. You don't need to be aggressive or dramatic to say no. You just need to be clear and kind. Here are some scripts you can use. I appreciate the offer, but I'm not able to commit right now. Thanks for thinking of me. Unfortunately, I need to pass this time. That's not something I can prioritize at the moment. No, but here's what I can do. I'm focusing on a few key things right now and have to stay streamlined. I'm taking some space to focus deeply right now. Thanks for understanding. Notice the tone. Kind, respectful, and confident. No drama. No apology. Just clarity. You don't owe anyone an elaborate explanation. If it's a real connection, they'll respect your boundary. And if they don't, that tells you what you need to know. Your yes becomes more valuable. Here's the paradox. The more freely you say no, the more powerful your yes becomes. Why? Because your yes now comes from a place of clarity, not fear. From intention, not impulse. From truth, not pressure. You're no longer saying yes to please people. You're saying yes to move forward. That kind of yes builds momentum. It builds trust. It builds you. So when you protect your no, you elevate your yes. Build a no filter. To make no a habit, you need a filter. Before you say yes to anything, ask, does this align with my top 3 priorities right now? Does it energize or drain me? Is this a full-body yes or a polite maybe? Would future me be glad I said yes to this? Am I saying yes out of love or out of fear? If the answer isn't a clear yes, it's probably a no in disguise. Trust that hesitation. Respect that instinct. And give yourself permission to honor it. No is a leadership skill. High performers. World-class creatives. Respected leaders. They don't say yes to everything. They say yes to what matters, and ruthlessly eliminate the rest. Steve Jobs once said, "It's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important." Oprah said, "No is a complete sentence." Warren Buffett said, "The difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything." The higher you rise, the more your success will be determined not by what you add, but by what you eliminate. No is not a weakness. It's a sign of strength, of maturity, of someone who knows where they're going and refuses to be pulled off course. Open Book Chapter 7. Eliminating Mental Clutter. You can have the perfect schedule. You can block your time like a pro. You can say no to distractions, obligations, and overcommitment. But if your mind is cluttered, none of it works. Mental clutter is the silent saboteur. You don't see it, but you feel it. It's that buzzing anxiety when you wake up. That fog that follows you through your to-do list. That loop of overthinking that plays in the background while you work, talk, or try to rest. It's not caused by a lack of skill. It's caused by a lack of space. If you want clarity, focus, and peace, you have to clear the mental junk drawer. What is mental clutter? Mental clutter is anything that takes up cognitive space but doesn't contribute to your growth, clarity, or peace. It's not just stress or worry. It's deeper than that. Mental clutter includes unfinished tasks you keep postponing, thoughts you never process, regrets you haven't released, conversations you're rehearsing in your head, projects you've committed to but haven't started, resentments you carry without realizing it, expectations you've internalized from others, constant comparisons that drain your confidence, background fears and what-ifs that play on repeat. You don't notice how loud it is until you finally experience quiet. And once you do, it feels like taking a deep breath after holding it for far too long. Why clarity requires space. Let's use a simple metaphor. Imagine your mind is a computer. Each open tab, each background program, each file you haven't saved, it's using RAM. Eventually, your system slows down. It crashes. It freezes. Your brain works the same way. Mental clutter is cognitive overload. It splits your attention. It slows your thinking. It sabotages your focus. It keeps you stuck in loops of analysis, avoidance, and anxiety. Clarity doesn't happen by working harder. It happens by clearing space. Space to think. Space to feel. Space to choose deliberately. You can't focus with a full head. You need room. Symptoms of mental clutter. How do you know if mental clutter is running your life? Here are the most common signs. You feel busy but unproductive. You overthink simple decisions. You struggle to start or finish tasks. You're emotionally reactive to small things. You procrastinate, even on things you care about. Your creativity feels blocked. You can't relax, even when you try. You wake up tired and go to bed wired. If any of these sound familiar, you're not broken. You're just cluttered. And clutter isn't a personality trait. It's a condition, which means it can be cleaned. Step 1. The brain dump. Before you can declutter your mind, you have to unload it. That's where the brain dump comes in. Take 10 to 20 minutes and write down everything on your mind. Tasks, worries, conversations, ideas, reminders, guilt, random thoughts, loose ends. Anything that's been looping. Don't organize it. Don't judge it. Don't fix it. Just get it out. What you're doing is giving your brain relief. You're saying, "Hey, I see you. You don't have to hold all of this alone." Your mind isn't designed to be a storage unit. It's designed to be a processing center. Empty the inbox before you try to do the work. Step 2. Close the open loops. Open loops are unfinished commitments you've made to yourself or others. They take many forms. Promises you haven't kept. Messages you haven't replied to. Tasks you've postponed. Conversations you're avoiding. Ideas you haven't acted on, but still think about. Each open loop uses bandwidth, even if you're not actively thinking about it. Closing them isn't always about completion. Sometimes it's about closure. Ask yourself for each loop. Do I need to finish this? Do I need to let it go? Do I need to reschedule or delegate it? Do I need to communicate something? Then take one small step. Just one. Every loop you close frees up energy. And energy is focus fuel. Step 3. Identify mental clutter sources. Your mental clutter didn't appear by accident. It's being fed. Take a moment to identify your top 3 sources of clutter. They might include toxic relationships, information overload, too many digital tabs, emails, apps, unclear goals, constant multitasking, unexpressed emotions, perfectionism or unrealistic expectations. Awareness gives you power. You can't remove what you haven't named. Once you name it, you can create boundaries around it or remove it entirely. Step 4. Learn to let it go. A huge source of mental clutter isn't external. It's emotional. It's what you're still holding on to. The mistake you keep reliving. The comment that hurt you. The goal you failed to hit. The person who disappointed you. The version of yourself you haven't forgiven yet. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the attachment to what no longer serves your peace. Try this simple practice. Name the burden. Acknowledge how it's impacting you. Ask, what would it look like to let this go? Visualize releasing it, physically, mentally, or symbolically. Breathe into the space it leaves behind. This isn't about one-and-done forgiveness. It's about a daily practice of choosing peace over weight. Step 5. Clear mental space with stillness. Silence is a decluttering tool. We live in constant input mode. Podcasts, social media, TV, conversations, music, notifications. But growth needs quiet. Stillness is how you process unspoken thoughts. Hear your inner wisdom. Let your nervous system settle. Create space for creative thinking. You don't need hours of meditation. Start with 5 to 10 minutes of intentional stillness each day. Sit in silence with no phone. Go for a walk without music. Practice deep breathing. Lie down and just listen to your breath. It feels uncomfortable at first. That's okay. Most people are addicted to noise. But that discomfort, it's not boredom. It's the clutter leaving. Step 6. Organize your mental priorities. Mental clutter often comes from unclear focus. When everything feels important, nothing is. Try this mental sorting technique. Write down the top 10 things on your mind right now. Then choose the top 3 that actually matter most. Circle them. Cross out the rest. This isn't about ignoring things forever. It's about choosing what to focus on for now. You can't think clearly when your brain is juggling 50 balls at once. Pick 3. Put the others down. You'll move faster, with more clarity, and less stress. Step 7. Clean up the mental environment. Decluttering your inner world means evaluating your external environment, too. Ask yourself, is my workspace clean or chaotic? Are my digital tools serving me or overwhelming me? Are my conversations helping me grow or draining me? Make it practical. Clean off your desk or primary workspace. Delete unused apps or files. Unsubscribe from email lists you never open. Mute or unfollow accounts that make you compare. Limit toxic conversations that spiral into drama. Mental clarity is easier to access when your surroundings aren't fighting against it. Step 8. Create mental maintenance habits. Decluttering isn't a one-time sweep. It's a rhythm. The goal is to create systems of maintenance, like weekly brain dump, Sunday reset planning, daily 10-minute review, morning journaling, digital detox hours or days, mindfulness practices. When you maintain your mental clarity the way you maintain your home, you don't let mess accumulate. You stay light, focused, energized. Because clarity isn't a mood. It's a choice, repeated. Open Book Chapter 8. Redesigning your environment for focus. You've set goals. You've gained clarity. You've started creating boundaries, and maybe even learned to say no with more confidence. But still, somehow, you find yourself slipping. You sit down to work, but your brain feels scattered. You intend to focus, but you drift. It's not always your mindset. Sometimes, it's your environment. Because no matter how focused your intentions are, your surroundings will always fight to influence your behavior, either pulling you into clarity or pulling you into chaos. Focus doesn't just happen in your head. It happens in the space you live in, the desk you sit at, the room you sleep in, and even the apps you use. You can't thrive in an environment that's designed for distraction. So if you want to stay focused, you have to do more than protect your mind. You have to redesign the world around you. The invisible power of environment. Let's get something straight. Your environment always wins. Always. You can have the strongest willpower in the world, but if you're working in a space full of visual chaos, constant noise, open tabs, and clutter, your willpower won't save you. This isn't a character flaw. It's brain science. Your brain evolved to respond to cues in your environment. Open food on the table? You'll snack. Phone in sight? You'll reach for it. Messy desk? Your brain burns mental energy just trying to process it. Loud noises? Your stress response activates, even if you're not conscious of it. Your environment is a silent architect of your behavior. It shapes how you think, what you feel, and how deeply you can concentrate. Which means, if you want better focus, you don't just need to work harder. You need to design smarter. The 3 layers of your environment. To master your focus, you need to evaluate your environment in 3 dimensions. Physical space, the room, furniture, objects, lighting, and layout around you. Digital space, your devices, apps, files, notifications, and online behavior. Sensory space, the sound, temperature, air quality, and visual input affecting your senses. Let's go through each and explore how to optimize them for peak focus. Brick 1. Physical space, your focus habitat. You've probably heard the phrase, clean space, clear mind. It's more than a slogan, it's a neuroscience-backed truth. A cluttered space creates visual stress. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment for danger or relevance. Every object in your line of sight is a data point your brain has to process, consciously or not. Too many objects equals too many distractions equals reduced focus. How to optimize your physical environment. White heavy check mark declutter your work zone. Remove anything from your desk that isn't essential for your current task. File or store away loose papers, mail, books, or objects that aren't in use. If it doesn't serve the task at hand, it goes. White heavy check mark create a designated focus area. Even if you live in a small space, carve out a spot, a chair, a corner, a table, that is used only for focused work. Your brain begins to associate that location with productivity, just like it associates a bed with sleep. Environment becomes identity. White heavy check mark use intentional visual cues. Keep a small whiteboard or notepad with your 3 main goals for the day in sight. Add an object or image that inspires you. A quote, a photo, a symbol. Let your space remind you of why you're doing the work. White heavy checkmark. Light and air matter more than you think. Natural light improves focus, mood, and alertness. Position your workspace near a window if possible. Fresh air increases mental clarity. Open a window or use a plant to improve air quality. Dim lighting may be relaxing, but bright and balanced lighting enhances sustained attention. White heavy checkmark. Reduce visual noise. Face a blank wall instead of a busy space when working. Use shelves or boxes to hide visual clutter. Consider minimal, clean lines over loud, messy decor. When your eyes rest, your brain relaxes into focus. Desktop computer 2. Digital space. The new battlefield. Your digital environment is now more distracting than your physical one. Apps, tabs, notifications, and digital tools can either serve you or steal your attention every 12 seconds. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. Most of the time, it's not conscious. It's a digital reflex, and it's been designed that way. How to create a digital environment that serves you. White heavy checkmark. Clean your desktop. A messy computer screen equals mental clutter. Organize files into folders. Delete what you no longer need. Keep only the most used apps and documents visible. Use a calming wallpaper with no text or faces. White heavy checkmark. Close extra tabs. Each browser tab is a task. Your brain sees them as unresolved to-do items, even if you're not looking at them. Work with 1 or 2 tabs open, max, during deep work. Use tools like OneTab or a session manager if needed. White heavy checkmark. Turn off push notifications. Yes, all of them. You don't need to be pinged every time a new email arrives. Someone likes your post. A delivery is on the way. Your friend posts a story. Batch your attention. Check messages and emails at scheduled times, not all day long. You're not missing out, you're taking back your mind. White heavy checkmark. Use tools that block distraction. Like freedom, cold turkey, stay focused, forest, rescue time. These tools help train your digital discipline until it becomes second nature. They're not about restriction, they're about liberation from the dopamine trap. White heavy checkmark. Audit your apps. Do a digital detox every month. Delete unused apps. Mute group chats that distract you. Unsubscribe from notifications and mailing lists you never read. Ask, is this app helping me focus or fragmenting me? Every app you use should earn its place in your life. Speaker high volume 3. Sensory space. Control the invisible inputs. You may not realize it, but sensory clutter is constantly influencing your performance. Noisy environment. Your brain is on edge. Smells, temperature, flickering lights. They register, even if you try to ignore them. The more ambient noise, discomfort, and overstimulation in your environment, the more your brain burns energy trying to filter it all out. That means less bandwidth for deep work. How to manage your sensory inputs for better focus. White heavy checkmark. Use noise strategically. Use noise-canceling headphones or white noise machines if your space is loud. Experiment with instrumental music, ambient soundscapes, or brown noise. Find what helps you enter flow. Avoid lyrics or dialogue-based sounds during focused work. They split your attention. White heavy checkmark. Mind your temperature. Too hot or too cold. Your body shifts into regulation mode. You don't need perfect conditions, but try to maintain a comfortable zone. Even a small desk fan or lap blanket can make a difference. White heavy checkmark. Use scent as a focus cue. Scents like peppermint, citrus, or rosemary can gently stimulate alertness and signal focus mode to your brain. Keep essential oils, candles, or diffusers nearby, just not overpowering. This creates a sensory anchor for productivity. White heavy checkmark. Color affects mood. Blue enhances calm and clarity. Green boosts creativity and harmony. Red energizes and signals urgency. Use sparingly. Neutral palettes tend to reduce distraction. Choose colors in your space that align with your desired mental state. Bonus: design for transitions. Many people lose focus between tasks, not during them. They finish one thing, then drift aimlessly, check their phone, get a snack, forget what they were doing. Transitions are hidden moments that cost us the most clarity. Here's how to reclaim them. Use rituals between task blocks. Stand up, breathe, stretch, close tabs. Move your body to reset your attention. Keep a transitional phrase. Okay, now I'm moving into task. Use timers to close loops and cue new sessions. When your transitions are intentional, your focus stays sharp. The 2-minute reset rule. Every time your environment pulls you out of focus, ask, what can I do in the next 2 minutes to bring this space back into alignment? Examples: clear your desk, shut extra tabs, put on focus music, turn your phone face down, light a candle or open a window, write down your next task. Small tweaks equals massive difference in clarity. The more you train your environment to support you, the less you'll need to rely on motivation. Final reminder: your environment isn't just where you live and work. It's where your mind lives. If your space is scattered, your thoughts will be too. If your space is intentional, your focus becomes effortless. This is not about perfection. It's about designing alignment between your space and your goals. Because when your environment supports your focus, everything becomes easier. Deep work, rest, creativity, decision-making, discipline, follow-through. So look around. Ask, what does my environment say about my priorities? And then start redesigning. Not just for aesthetics, but for alignment. Because focus doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice and by design. Open Book Chapter 9. Overcoming Procrastination by Rewiring Your Mind. You know what you need to do. You've written the list. You've set the intention. You might have even cleared your space, silenced your phone, and made your favorite cup of coffee. And yet, you're still not doing the thing. Why? Why do we avoid the very actions that move our lives forward? The answer is not laziness. It's not a lack of discipline. It's not because you're unmotivated, broken, or flawed. It's because procrastination is a coping mechanism, one that your brain uses to avoid discomfort, not laziness. And if you want to break free from it, you don't need more punishment. You need understanding. You need to rewire your mind. The real psychology of procrastination. Procrastination isn't a productivity problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. That's right. When you avoid a task, it's not because you're lazy. It's because the task triggers a negative emotion. Maybe it feels overwhelming, confusing, boring, risky, exhausting, inadequate, uncertain. Your brain sees that discomfort and thinks, let's not feel that right now. So you scroll, or snack, or clean, or check your email. You distract yourself, not because you're weak, but because you're wired to avoid pain. That's the truth. Your brain is always chasing two things: safety, reward. And procrastination is simply the brain choosing short-term safety, distraction, over long-term reward, progress. The cost of delay. Here's the dangerous thing about procrastination. It feels harmless in the moment. What's one more scroll? One more video? One more hour? But procrastination has a hidden cost. It steals your momentum. It trains your brain to avoid action. And it chips away at your self-trust. Because every time you delay, you're telling yourself, I can't handle this. And over time, that belief sticks. You start to see yourself not as someone who occasionally procrastinates, but as a procrastinator. An identity is powerful. That's why breaking procrastination isn't just about doing the task. It's about becoming someone who takes action, no matter what. The 3 root causes of procrastination. To change behavior, you have to know why it's happening. Most procrastination falls into one of 3 buckets. 1. Fear-based procrastination. Rooted in perfectionism, self-doubt, or fear of failure. Signs. You want the work to be perfect before starting. You over-research and never execute. You delay tasks that matter too much. You think, what if I mess it up? Reframe. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be willing to feel fear and still take action. White heavy check mark. Replace perfection with progress. White heavy check mark. Set a timer for 10 imperfect minutes. White heavy check mark. Remind yourself, done is better than perfect. 2. Overwhelm-based procrastination. Rooted in the size or complexity of the task. Signs. You don't know where to start. You feel paralyzed by a big project. You avoid the task entirely because it's too much. You think, this will take forever. Reframe. You're not lazy, you're overloaded. White heavy check mark. Break the task into micro steps. White heavy check mark. Focus on the first 5 minutes, not the full task. White heavy check mark. Use the mantra, small moves, big delays. 3. Emotion-based procrastination. Rooted in boredom, disinterest, frustration, or mental fatigue. Signs. You find the task tedious. You lose focus quickly. You feel mentally drained before even starting. You think, I just don't feel like it. Reframe. You don't have to feel like it to begin. Motivation often follows momentum. White heavy check mark. Set a short timer and just start. White heavy check mark. Add music, environment shifts, or movement. White heavy check mark. Use reward loops. If I do this, I get that. The anti-procrastination framework. Let's rewire this once and for all. Here's a 6-step process to break the loop, reset your behavior, and build a new mental pattern. Brain step 1. Awareness. Name it. Before you can change procrastination, you have to catch it in the act. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding right now? What emotion am I trying not to feel? What story am I telling myself about this task? Example, I'm avoiding writing this email because I'm afraid of rejection. Just naming the avoidance removes its grip. Step 2. Acceptance. Normalize it. This part is crucial. You're not weird for procrastinating. You're human. When you beat yourself up, you create shame, and shame just leads to more avoidance. Instead, say, it makes sense that I feel this way. Of course I want to avoid discomfort. That's natural. It's okay that this feels hard. I can still take action. Self-compassion is a performance enhancer. Direct hit. Step 3. Clarify, what's the next micro step? Most tasks feel heavy because we're holding the entire mountain in our mind. Break it down until it feels laughably small. What's the very first action I can take? What would I do if I only had 5 minutes? What's the smallest possible win I can get? Example, open the document. Title it. Write 1 sentence. That's it. Clarity clears the fog. Smallness kills resistance. Stopwatch. Step 4. Act. Use the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself, I'll just do this for 5 minutes. That's it. No commitment to finish. Just a commitment to start. This works because it removes the pressure and lowers the emotional barrier to entry. And 90% of the time, once you start, you keep going. Because action creates momentum. Light bulb. Step 5. Reward. Reinforce the behavior. Your brain runs on feedback. If you take action, then beat yourself up, the brain remembers that action equals pain. But if you take action, then celebrate it, your brain begins to associate action with reward. How to reinforce. Check it off a list. Yes, that counts. Say out loud, I did that. Smile. Breathe. Acknowledge progress. Use a small treat or break as a reward. You're training your brain to believe, when I take action, I win. Repeat button. Step 6. Repeat. Build the habit loop. Procrastination isn't broken with one good day. It's unwired over time through repetition. Every time you notice your pattern, lower the friction, take small action, reward progress, You're creating a new loop in your brain. Eventually, this becomes your default. Mindset shifts that kill procrastination. Let's upgrade your operating system. Here are some powerful beliefs to adopt. Starting is success. Not finishing. Not crushing it. Not doing it perfectly. Just starting. If you start, you win. Every time. I don't have to feel like it to begin. Motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. Your feelings are allowed to tag along, but they don't drive the car. Small beats stuck. Don't underestimate the power of a 2-minute task. Big results come from tiny, repeated movements. Done is better than perfect. Perfection is procrastination in disguise. Let it be messy. Let it be awkward. Let it be real. The task isn't hard. Starting is. Once you begin, your brain adapts. It's always the first 30 seconds that are the hardest. Push through that, everything gets easier. Tools and tactics for procrastination recovery. The Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Simple. Effective. Keeps you moving. Visual timers. Use a physical timer or time tracking app to create urgency. Task batching. Group similar low-effort tasks together and knock them out fast. Body before brain. Walk, stretch, hydrate before working to reset your nervous system. Accountability buddy. Message a friend what you plan to do, then check in. Next step, sticky notes. Keep a post-it of just the next action in front of you. Pre-decide triggers. When I sit at my desk, I open, task. Create auto-start cues. Open book chapter 10. Building momentum through daily micro-wins. You've experienced it before. The rush of motivation after a great idea, the excitement of a fresh start. But then, a few days later, that feeling fades. The momentum you had slips away, and once again, you're stuck in the cycle of procrastination. This is the challenge we all face. Starting strong is easy. Keeping that momentum going, not so much. But here's the truth. Momentum isn't something you wait for. It's something you build, one micro step at a time. In this chapter, we're going to unlock the secret of micro wins, small, easy victories that seem insignificant at first but are the key to turning your goals into a lifestyle. The best part? You don't need big, dramatic gestures to create momentum. All it takes is the right mindset, the right strategy, and the willingness to show up every single day. Let's dive in. What are micro wins? Micro wins are the small, seemingly insignificant victories that accumulate over time and lead to major success. They may seem too simple to matter, but they add up. Every time you complete one, you reinforce your sense of accomplishment, your trust in yourself, and most importantly, your momentum. Think of micro wins as the building blocks of success. They may not seem impressive on their own, but each one is a step forward. And over time, these steps snowball, creating massive results that you never thought possible. For example, writing 200 words each morning toward your book instead of waiting for the perfect time to write 2,000. Spending 10 minutes exercising every day instead of waiting for the right mood to hit. Reading one chapter a day instead of setting an unrealistic goal of reading a book a week. These actions are small, but they're also real, consistent, and sustainable. The power of consistency. The most successful people didn't get where they are by having one big breakthrough moment. They got there by showing up consistently, day after day, doing the small things that built their success over time. Let's break it down. Rocket compound interest of action. Think of micro wins like compound interest in a bank account. At first, the growth is minimal, just a few cents. But over time, those pennies stack up, multiply, and create something significant. Momentum works the same way. Let's say you write just 200 words a day toward a goal of writing a book. After 1 month, you have 6,000 words. That's a solid chunk of a book. After a year, you could have 72,000 words. Had you waited for the perfect day to write 2,000 words, you would have never finished the book. But 200 words a day? That's achievable, realistic, and manageable. The more consistent you are with small actions, the greater the rewards. The magic is in showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Because showing up is what builds the compound effect of momentum. Flex biceps, building confidence through small wins. Each micro win you achieve gives you more confidence. It tells your brain, I can do this. I am the type of person who gets things done. Small wins build your self-belief and mental resilience, making it easier to take on bigger challenges as you go along. It's about creating a pattern of success in your brain. And the more you win, no matter how small, the more success feels like your default. How to build momentum with micro wins. The first step to building momentum through micro wins is starting small. Too often, we aim for perfection, and that prevents us from even beginning. Instead, we can use the following steps to build lasting momentum, one tiny win at a time. 1. Set tiny, achievable goals. Start by breaking your larger goal into tiny, manageable steps. These should be goals you can achieve within a short time frame, such as 10 to 15 minutes. Instead of thinking, I want to lose 20 pounds, start with, I will go for a 10-minute walk today. Instead of thinking, I'm going to write a book, try, I'll write 200 words today. Instead of thinking, I'll read 100 pages this week, aim for, I'll read 1 chapter a day. The key is achievability. These small goals should be so easy to complete that you feel motivated to do them, even on days when you're low on energy or enthusiasm. 2. Celebrate every win. One of the biggest mistakes people make is not celebrating their wins. We think, it's just a small thing. It doesn't matter. But it does matter. Celebrating each micro win reinforces the habit and gives your brain positive feedback. Whether it's a small fist pump, a high five to yourself in the mirror, or checking it off your list with pride. Celebrate every victory, no matter how tiny. The more you celebrate, the more your brain associates success with pleasure, and the more motivated you'll feel to continue. In time, these celebrations become embedded in your routine, and they reinforce the momentum you're building. 3. Use the 5-minute rule. Procrastination is often about feeling overwhelmed. The thought of doing something big can paralyze us into inaction. But the 5-minute rule is a simple yet powerful technique that helps you beat procrastination and build momentum. Here's how it works. Tell yourself you're only going to work on the task for 5 minutes. When the 5 minutes are up, you can stop if you want to. But almost always, once you've started, you'll keep going. The key is taking the first step. After 5 minutes, you'll have momentum, and it's much easier to keep going. If you stop at 5 minutes, that's okay too. It's still a win. You've broken through the resistance, and tomorrow will be easier. 4. Track your progress. Tracking is crucial for maintaining momentum. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. A simple checklist or calendar will do. The goal is to visualize your progress and see how much you're accomplishing, even with small actions. You can use a habit tracker to mark off each day you complete your micro win. The visual of seeing a chain of successes growing is a powerful motivator. Alternatively, you could take a minute each day to journal about what you accomplished. Writing down your successes reminds you of your progress, and it can inspire you to keep going. 5. Create accountability for small wins. Accountability doesn't need to be about huge commitments or goals. You can hold yourself accountable for your micro wins by setting daily check-ins with yourself or a trusted friend. Simply telling someone, I'm going to write 200 words today, and having them check in later can make all the difference. Accountability creates a sense of external pressure that encourages consistency. You can also join an accountability group or use social media to track your progress. But remember, the goal is not perfection, but consistent action. Share the small wins, and you'll motivate others to do the same. Building momentum with habits. Momentum isn't just about completing a task, it's about building a routine. Once you've started building small wins, you can habitize them. The more you make these micro wins a part of your everyday life, the more momentum will flow naturally. 1. Create consistent routines. Your environment and routine are key. You need to automate your micro wins so they don't require willpower every day. For instance, morning routines. Write, meditate, or read each morning before starting your day. Evening routines. Reflect, plan for the next day, or read to wind down. The more you make these actions part of your routine, the easier it becomes to keep building momentum. With every day, you'll start to see the compound results from your tiny, consistent wins. 2. Pair new habits with existing ones. If you want to cement a new habit, pair it with something you already do automatically. This is known as habit stacking. For example, if you drink coffee every morning, stack the habit of journaling or writing a page before your coffee. If you already exercise regularly, stack the habit of reading a chapter or two after your workout. By pairing a new action with an existing habit, you lower the friction and make it easier to stay consistent. This way, the new action becomes a seamless part of your day. The power of persistence over perfection. Momentum is built on persistence, not perfection. The key to moving forward is showing up, not being perfect. So, what happens if you miss a day? What happens if life gets in the way? Don't worry. You'll get back on track. Momentum is about the long game, not short-term perfection. Just because you miss one day doesn't mean you've failed. It simply means you need to reset and continue. It's the consistency that matters, not the occasional slip-ups. Final reminder: small wins, big results. Momentum isn't something you wait for. It's something you create every single day. By taking small, consistent actions, celebrating your micro-wins, and sticking to your routines, you build unstoppable momentum that moves you toward your goals with ease. Momentum doesn't require grand gestures. It only requires small steps repeated over time. So don't wait for motivation to find you. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Don't wait for inspiration to strike. Start with one tiny win, then another, and another. Because momentum doesn't just lead you to your goal, it becomes your goal. Now go out there and start building your momentum, one small win at a time.